Hey guys, how you doing? Morning. Welcome to the Academic Answers podcast, where we discuss the questions from our blog or email list on personal development, success, happiness, reaching your full potential. And that is our biggest idea, our biggest deal. The idea of full potential, the idea that most of us are operating way below our potential, the idea that our potential is the root of the bringing out the awesomeness within us, that gift that we have been given, that thing that we've been called to do, the thing we're passionate about, and using it to create something that can serve us and can serve the world. Creating something that we are proud of doing each day and something we're not trying to escape from. You know, people who are really passionate about what they do, while you see them living the good life, doing the vacations, they still are pulled to do the stuff that they do. Even on vacation, they'll steal a couple of hours and will be doing it when the family is asleep, because it energizes them. It brings them to life. They're dedicated and they're passionate about it, and that's what makes them who they are. So they never stop doing it. And they say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, because it is energizing for you, it's fun for you, it's fulfilling for you. And if you understand anything about success, you'll understand that success without fulfillment is the greatest failure. If you get all the things that society label as being successful without being fulfilled inwardly, you will feel like a failure yourself. And while you might be able to demonstrate to the world, to put up a face card, to put up a facade, to throw up an image to the world, if you're slowly dying inside, then you are likely to self-destruct. So you want to be fulfilled. So this question is, thank you for listening, guys. I appreciate it. This podcast has grown over the past year and a half to over 10,000 listens. And I'm grateful. I haven't done any great thing in terms of promoting it. I've just done it in thin air, and most of the people who listen just discover it. I've started out maybe a 2-week campaign. Sort of a campaign, just share some of it on my social media. So, but I'll get into scaling it a bit more as I go into 2020 and make a plan and I go forward. And just as I say plan, it's an easy and nice segue into the topic we have to talk about this morning. And my reader said, why does it feel like a graveyard in my life? It's deafeningly quiet around here. It's super slow. It feels like everything is standing still around me. And it's easy to feel that way. Don't believe that it's it's a bad thing. It is a strange, hysterical concept to feel that way. It is easy to feel that way. And the number one reason, I'll explain to you, the number one reason why you feel that way is because of the lack of a measuring stick. And I'll tell you what that measuring stick is in a minute. You must have a way to set up your life so you can test and measure. In other words, that's why they say goals are so important, because you could be doing a million things and the years go by and you're wondering what have you accomplished, because we are so steeped into material, societal, trivial, impulsive desire goals that we spend our entire lives filling in those and chasing in those when they're really not getting us to any great standards. You know, where I came from, I'll tell you the story quickly. Where I came from in rural Jamaica, Caribbean, coming out of my grandma's era in the 40s after the Second World War, everything was about survival. And the lingerings of the plantation, of slavery, of the whole African slave trade and indentured laborers was still strong and thick in the air. One politician put it really well in 1972 when our country was getting its independence from the British rule. And the politician said that his generation had an obligation to get the nation political independence, and the generation after his tier of leadership was supposed to get the country economic independence. So my grandparents and closer to my parents' era was about getting to covering the bases in terms of the necessary, important survival things that people need to feel like human beings, like nature triggered, for want of a better term, needs. So they were trying to have a house, possibly have a car, access to education, access to clean water, access to food. That was the struggle. There were many food, just numerous food shortages. There was inadequate supply of water, and the housing solutions were poor. And as a result, any human being living under those conditions would start to want to get rid of those. So one of the things that I am convinced, I haven't done the research, that came from the plantation mentality, is that the plantation usually have owners that have this big house. There's this castle, this palace, this huge estate, where the slaves never go into the homes, into these unless they were house slaves. But those who work on the plantation, on the farms, used to see these big properties. So somewhere in that, the desire for a huge house became strong in our culture. And this is just my analysis of it, because that desire for a huge house is so strong in our culture. So out of the 50s, 60s, 70s, when England was opening up and a lot of people were migrating to England, they left to work to come back with the ambition to build a big house. That was the goal. That was a big thing. Everything was about building a big house. All reasoning, all logic, everything went out the window. The only thing that mattered was building a big house. So even when they lived on, they never managed to do that until they got to their 60s. They still wanted it. Even though they couldn't go upstairs, they still build a house. Even though they're just a wife and a husband and sometimes one person, they still build the big houses. That also happened with those who never grow old before they build these houses. So there were younger guys who were doing a lot of marijuana farming when marijuana was highly illegal, and they were making tons of money from that along the northern strip of the island and many other regions all over Jamaica, because Jamaica is known for that marijuana plant. Many people made a lot of money doing that, and most of that money went into cars and houses. How did this happen? Because the number one goal in their lives were to build these houses and have a car. That's it. Nobody thought any further than that. So they set these goals. The problem is that these people have goals. They had goals, but it's not that the goals they have were too big. The goals were big, but it's not, the goals were big, but they were low. They are low level goals, meaning that they are not anything that can actually sustain through life, right? They don't actually can hold you to any level of success. They are just material things. So what happened to these houses is that they're there right now. If I take you there, they're in ill repair, they're poorly maintained, they're run down, they're empty, because These people set goals and they aim too low and hit the goals. And then what next after these goals? No businesses, no economic plan, no sense of community, no purpose in life. And most of them now are hanging out. Those who are still living around, are hanging around, just there, nothing to do, no prospects for their life, and never managed to really make anything out of life. They had a good spell and they use all that to build a house and drive a car. And now the house and the car is almost non-existent and they're just there. So I tell you that story to tell you that goals are important, but what you actually need are goals that empower you and move you forward. What most people don't understand is that material things are byproduct of a solid life plan, a real economic plan for your life. So the measuring stick that you need is ultimately goals, but to get to those goals, you need a plan. And in this day and age, I am trying to deviate from the idea of telling people about a plan because it is so overused, and when we hear something so often for so long, it lost its meaning. People do all type of tweaks with it, and it just passed through our consciousness, and nothing comes from it. What is more important? And I was talking to a friend of mine, great guy, and he was a VP in one of his multinational, with these huge financial service organization, and he said that, Lewin, what I'm focused on is not what's coming to me on a daily basis. What I'm focused on is my process. If I can dial in my process, then the other things will automatically fall into place. So I'm going to skip over the idea that your plan is going to be your measuring stick. I'm going to tell you that your goals are your ultimate measuring stick. You have to have big goals for your life, and then your process is what's going to tell you whether or not you're moving or you're not moving. Because if you go to the gym right now and you spend 365 hours there, if you could somehow find the energy, one shot, or let's say for a month you go 2 hours a week, and 2 hours a week for 4 weeks give you 8 hours, or 10 hours of 5 hours a week for 4 weeks give you 20 hours. If you do all those 20 hours in one day, you will not see the results. If you do those 20 hours over the month period, you will see the results. Why? Because process is important. You cannot shock yourself there, and the only way to know what's going on in your life and how you're going about is if you are dialing your process. So you have to model. Find someone who is getting the results that you want, and get on out there and look at their process, model their process, and follow that process. Forget what the result is today. Forget what's going on tomorrow and next week, and whether this thing happened for you. Just dialing the process, because we all are different and our results come at different times. So the only way to actually know whether your life is moving is to determine, are you in that consistent, proven process every single day. So for example, if you want a certain body weight, if you want a certain physique, and you get a program and you have done the research on your body type and how you react to all these stuff, it's easy to do, it's everywhere online, how your body reacts to exercises, and you get your fitness plan. If you are depending on how you look this evening when you go into the mirror to decide whether or not it's moving slowly or it's not moving slowly, or this is happening or not, you will be frustrated and you're not going to figure it out. What you need is to look at whether or not your process is being executed on every single day as per plan. So if it is 3 day weeks, a gym, 2 shakes, 200 grams of carbs, whatever, then once you're dialing that in, it's a done deal. That's it. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Don't sit there stressing out. Don't be confused. Don't be all over the place and I'm wondering if this is moving. You just need to know that your process is being employed day by day by day by day or as per required. If you are doing that, there's not really anything to worry about. You keep doing that and you keep doing that and you keep doing that until you start to see results. When are you going to see results? I don't know. You want to make sure that you run your processes, because success has in it a lot of what is called patience. If you have no patience, you're going to have a really difficult time because nothing happens overnight. So if it's kind of quiet, if it's not feeling like it's moving, check on your process. Outline a proven process that you've adopted or modeled from someone and see if you are doing that process. And when you commit and you have the discipline to keep on doing that because it's something that energizes you and you would do it for free anyway, it is uniquely you and it comes from your core, then you have no problem. Go on living your life in that mode, become the best version of yourself, nail the thing, master the thing, keep doing it, and success has absolutely no option but to pop for you. That's it. You will move. The goals will be reached if you keep on going on, if the good God grant you the extension of life. That's how it works. Thank you so much for reaching out. Dial in your process. Dial in your process and it's all taken care of. Thank you.